Welcome to round 6 of Grand Prix San Diego. I'm David Marshall. I'm here with Marshall Sutcliffe, and we are underway. Ricky Sidher leading off on your left against Roberto Gonzales.
Yeah, we've got a pretty sweet matchup here. Ricky's on the left-hand side. He is playing a Kiki-Jiki combo deck with Birthing Pod. Basically, it's a Court of Calling Birthing Pod combo deck based around creatures, almost exclusively creatures. And he's up against Roberto, who is playing a deck that we saw a little earlier.
Yeah, he's playing red, white, blue Kiki Twin.
Kiki Twin is a way to put it. Yes, we actually haven't seen that yet today.
Yeah, he's playing. He's got some Splinter Twin. He's got some Kiki-Jiki, depending on what he thinks you might have. He has a couple different ways to go, but really plays like a red, white, blue control deck.
That's exactly what it is.
Capable of going to the face, right? Capable of going, okay, I've got Restoration Angel, which we talked about as being a way to combo with Splinter Twin.
Yep. Or with Kiki-Jiki,
right?
Kiki-Jiki, yeah. So this is actually it's exactly what you said, BDM. It's a red, white, blue shell, a control shell, that has the ability to win on the spot randomly, seemingly randomly.
I think it's an interesting deck to me because it feels like three different decks. It feels like it can be an aggro deck.
Yes.
It feels like it can be a control deck, and it's certainly a combo deck.
If I walked up to you and I said, Snapcaster Mage, Geist Saint Traft, Vendilion Click, Lightning Helix, Lightning Bolt, Remand, you would be like tempo aggro.
Yeah.
Right? But if I walked up to you and said Kiki-Jiki, Splinter Twin, Deceiver Exarch, you'd think combo, right? So, this deck definitely has the ability to hit on multiple axes. And that's
then when you look at a set of like Vendilion Click, Remand, Path to Exile, that becomes more of a control deck.
Yeah, I think this deck is awesome. I think it's a relatively new deck, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and I've been watching Roberto play it for a couple rounds. Turned out finishing 9th at the Pro Tour, you still have to play round 3 sometimes at a Grand Prix.
Indeed.
Watched him play a little bit, and he seems really comfortable with what he's doing with this deck. Ricky is resolving his second Misty Rainforest here.
Ricky's got much, much less in the way of disruption for his opponent, and much more in the way of redundancy and making things happen on his side. If he can land a Birthing Pod, it's going to go a long, long way to helping him get ahead. He plays a Wall of Roots here. Another great start, though. Wall of Roots is insane.
And lets you do a lot of degenerate things with a Birthing Pod in this deck.
Totally.
Because you get that extra mana off of it.
You do. And then you cash it in after you've kind of used it up. And then, again, certain decks, it's just a fantastic blocker. Wall of Roots is amazing.
Yeah, it's been good since it was printed.
Yeah, not surprised. One of the things that Ricky, his list is really good at too is it's got a reasonable, 4 Restoration Angels, 2 Deceiver Exarch. It can flash things in on your opponent's turn on their end step.
Right. Plays a bird. He can reset his Wall of Roots with a Restoration Angel here. If he wants to. Sorry, we just got our heads down in Ricky's deck list, looking at all the different combos.
Yeah, one of the things about these Birthing Pod / Court of Calling decks is that they tend to run a lot of one-of creatures since they can effectively tutor for what they need in any given time. And so sometimes it's interesting to try to figure out why they would include certain cards. And BDM and I have come across a couple of head-scratchers here, but we will see.
One of the problems for me always, we talked about a lot about decks finding their way into Modern. And all the different different things you can do, but a lot of times it's because certain cards have made things redundant. So Splinter Twin and Kiki-Jiki, right? Like you have a lot of you have a lot of overlap there. You can make sure you find your pieces.
Yeah.
Right. Birthing Pod doesn't really have anything that makes it redundant.
No, the Birthing Pod itself is what makes it redundant. Like it's like you killed my piece, I'll go search up another one.
Sure, but in terms of actually getting that Birthing Pod.
Right. Oh, the pod itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a straight 4 of in this deck.
Okay.
Looks like players are kind of plodding along here, building up different mana sources. Nobody's really made a significant move in either direction here. Ricky's cracked his third Misty Rainforest. All of them foil. That is such a sweet foil.
And this is a deck that he knows super well, by the way. He
is that
plays
right?
this deck all the time. He's
okay.
like, a lot of people in his play group have talked to me like, how can you play that deck? I don't, he's like, I don't know. I've just played it, a million times. I just know it inside and out.
And that actually gives you a huge advantage. I think
well,
people
some
think
of the
that
cards,
there's a ceiling.
some of the cards that, maybe are head scratching to us.
Yeah.
Are cards he knows have a place in there. So you see he removes a counter from the Wall of Roots end of turn to flash out Restoration Angel.
Yeah, that's when I see one of I assume that it's there for a great reason, and I'm just trying to figure out what the reasons are. Is this going to resolve? It looks like it is. It's going to target the Wall of Roots and reset it. You mentioned that just a few minutes ago, BDM, and there it is right away.
It's like 2 free. It's like 2 free mana.
All right, Vendilion Click slams into play on his draw step.
And what does he see?
Court of Calling, Kiki Jiki, Spellskite, and a Breeding Pool.
And a good thing he got that Kiki Jiki because he was going to be able to go off this turn, right?
Right. He's going to draw his card from Vendilion Click. This is still during his draw step. And he's just going to, he says he's already got the win. He's going to play Court of Calling, add a mana to his mana pool. Resolves. Hey, look, it's Kiki Jiki back again. And now he can make a copy of Restoration Angel and make infinite of that and repeat that process until he's dead.
He makes a copy of Restoration Angel. Restoration Angel removes the Kiki Jiki. It comes right back into play. Untapped, still has haste. Restoration Angel. And now you have a whole army of hasty Restoration Angel.
Absolutely. And, that's interesting because I think it goes to show in a lot of ways what we were just talking about. When somebody's really, really good with the deck, he knew he had the win either way.
Right.
He's like, that's not going to get it. But we saw that there were some pauses, and it's like, okay, well, you're going to do what? Okay, you do this. What are you doing? Okay, and you just won, And Ricky knew when he untapped that he had the win either way.
Right.
Or after the...
what was that? That was like turn 4, right?
Yeah. Turn 4, turn 5 win. And with infinite damage.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But I'm saying, it's like you feel like you should be able to, it's like I'm going to play this Vendilion Click. It should be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's
No,
safe.
You're dead. You're actually just dead. Yeah.
2 ways. You're dead twice.
And he actually made it easier on Ricky because Ricky knew where the Kiki Jiki was in his deck. Didn't have to
I
search.
don't even got to look for it.
He just flashes the bottom. Get a look at the feature match area there. Matt Sperling versus Matt Costa. Matt fight there.
Yeah. And there you see Harry Corvasi playing against...
You're Eric?
I can't get a look either.
Yeah, I can't recognize Harry's opponent.
David won round
That's
one.
David Sharfman playing against Sidher-Froelich.
Yep.
They're going to also be, our sort of other video match.
Mm-hmm.
Should this match end as quickly as game 1 kind of went by. That matchup over there on the back video table is, again, that same deck. Eric Froelich playing, very similar deck to what we've seen from Martel, similar to the deck we've seen from Turtenwald. It's like Platinum Jund.
I like that.
In fact, we're taking a look at them right now. I'm just going to peek in on them while they're sideboarding. Eric Froelich's on your right. David Sharfman's on your left. David Sharfman
clearly on
Scape Shift.
Yep.
It's the only deck he's played in any format that deck's been legal. And he's taken a couple of left turns for Hive Mind, but for the most part,
he's back home again.
Shift. Yeah.
Looks like the Deathrite Shaman just beat in there for 1 damage, and Fulminator Mage post combat. He just says go though. Ifro's not in a hurry to activate that Fulminator Mage. Basic forest for Sharfman. And we see
Sharfman's up a game here.
Okay, and Sharfman's going to target himself with Relic of Progenitus because he's not going to be using the graveyard, and he wants to make sure that any future Tarmogoyfs are held in check from Ifro. Ifro did use his.
Yeah.
Took out his red source.
Oh. And see a couple interesting sideboard cards there from Sharfman.
What is he dealing with
Looks
here?
like he's holding on to an Inferno
Those are
Titan.
2014.
Oh, really? Yeah, you're right. He is.
2014.
Wow, okay.
Suspends Search for Tomorrow, plays Secure Tribe Elder, and he's like possibly a turn away from getting an Inferno Titan down.
He's getting those the mana right back up again. Oh man, look at Ifro. He's got a Aven Mind Sensor out of his Jund sideboard. Right, this deck is. We need a new name. He currently doesn't have white mana, but he will here. Yeah. Just gonna flash in an Aven Mind Sensor in main phase here, but in response, Sharfman's forced to use his Sakura Tribe Elder, or else he can't search more than the top 3?
Top 4, right?
Top 4, yeah. Aven Mind Sensor is a cool card. Like, that's the kind of card that I didn't get to play with when it was out, and now that Modern's a thing, I get the chance to play with that kind of card. I'm sure I'm not alone with that. A lot of people. Search for Tomorrow is not going to be doing a whole lot of searching with that Aven Mind Sensor out, though. See, Sharfman has a Lightning Bolt. Oh, Fire Spout. And he paid green and red. Ugh.
The original Clan Defiance.
Oh, man. Super Pyroclasm there.
Yep. Just going to keep your number down. He's going to cycle. Float the mana. Cycle Relic of Progenitus. Remove both graveyards.
Same.
Search for Tomorrow resolves.
2014.
Yeah, Ifro's been sort of scuffling along here on 3 lands.
Players.
Hard cast Search for
Seal of
Tomorrow.
Yep.
Standard.
Don't
Round
wanna
3
wait 2
is
turns.
being posted. Once again,
He doesn't want to give
players,
Ifro
Seal
a
of
chance
Standard.
to
Round 3 is
hit
being
a land
posted.
drop and play another Mind Sensor in response or do
Yeah.
anything like that. I think, doesn't Sharfman still have his land drop for the turn coming as well? Because I think that's 2 Search for Tomorrow. Yeah, just this turn. So he actually played 3 lands, and he's vaulted himself into Inferno Titan mana just like that. A Johnny Vengeance in hand for Ifro. That's not going to live very long.
Yep, take 3.
Wow.
1714.
Inferno Titan comes into play, deals 3 damage.
Having like,
You want to split it however you want to split it up. Oh, but it gets pathed.
hey, that's a pretty nice turn for Ifro.
Like, oh,
Trade your 6-drop for my 1 mana spell and then play arguably the best creature ever printed? Sure. Go. Your move.
kill it.
Oh, baby.
Looks like an Obstinate Baloth.
Yeah, he does have the mana to cast it.
Don't you just want to get it, like,
I mean, I think so. Unless he's got a Cryptic or something,
Glad I got the draw now.
Right?
which he apparently doesn't.
looks like he just drew another Obstinate Baloth. He has 4 of them in his sideboard.
Okay.
Obviously aware of,
17,
Liliana the Veil decks.
Yeah, absolutely.
17, 18.
I mean, Ifro can kill that. You can Lightning Bolt it and then throw, or Lightning Bolt it twice.
Just going to 2-for-1 himself to get
beautiful-
rid of it.
Those beautiful old Lightning Bolts.
Oh man, I have 4 of those. Love those. Sharfman's drawn a Valak at the Molten Pinnacle, but
Well, you don't really
he's only
wanna-
dealing with 1 mountain. He had all of his non-basics taken out by Fulminator mages, and he fetched with Search for Tomorrow for a bunch of basics, of course. So he's not in natural Valakut range here, but Scapeshift is still alive.
Yeah. Oh, very live.
Yeah, Scapeshift is game. No, it doesn't tap it. Ajani Vengeance, a relative newcomer to Modern.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him around
I've
much.
not seen much of him at
Yeah,
all.
looks like Sharfman's like, oh, sweet. This is the point of the match where Ifro's kind of bummed out because like that's not the most potent play you could make on your turn. Is,
But-
now that's a little better. Raging
yeah, it's a
Ravine
Raging
follow?
Ravine.
Sure. Cryptic bounce draw. So he's going to use his cryptic command to
Draw,
reset it,
escape shift.
Johnny. Did he?
He only has one green.
He does only have one green, and he did draw escape shift. Wow, worm coil engine now too.
Stretching sound I hear. Oh, Liliana's moving.
Oh man, Sharfman's in the driver's seat here, although Ifro can replay it, Johnny, and tap down the forest to at least not die, but what a horrible position to be in. Oh, Ifro just ships the turn back.
I've only won one competitive game.
What's his plan?
Well, he can't activate both of his so-called man lands, his Raging Ravine.
All right,
Yeah.
let's see some
He
land.
can activate one or the other.
I saw one land the first
You can just
time,
take
two
it.
lands
Just gonna
the second
take it.
time, and
All
no
right, so he's
land
got plans for
11, 21.
See land.
Representing Aven Mind Sensor here.
All I need to see is just go land. I don't care what the other 3 cards are. Or 2 cards, excuse me.
Oh,
That's it.
I want 2 lands.
Not
I'm
much
greedy.
there. See what we have on our main.
so that's 2-0 to David
You're not
Sharfman.
even mulliganing. Come on.
Looks like our feature match has experienced a large amount of mulligans here.
So in it.
I think
Deep in it.
Roberto's has mulligan to 4 here, BDM.
That's why I targeted her
And
mouth.
this is still just game 2.
Ah,
I'm not going to let him.
shuffling takes a while, man. It's harder than it looks.
No.
There's a Supreme Verdict in hand for Roberto. That goes a long way against.
Yep.
Oh wow, Wall of Roots into
Go.
birds. Okay, no third land though is gonna mean that Ricky's gonna have his way here potentially.
I like.
Thankfully, he's facing down. Roberto's facing down 0 power.
That's when I would have realized when you played it, you wouldn't have been able to kill my worm coil. You just like targeted my 4
Still,
times.
every creature that Ricky's played has 0 power.
He's like, come on.
Is this a land? It is. Okay, one more, and he can Supreme Verdict and really potentially put himself back in this game. It depends on
Gavany Townships. He activates Gavany Township, and it's kind of free to use your Wall of Roots because you put the -1/-1 counters on it.
They're not -1, -1.
Oh, they're
counters.
they're minus -1.
So he actually has to track them
Oh,
separately.
that's so bizarre.
Yeah, there was a change in R&D where they tried to generalize this into -1/-1 or
Right,
+1/+1,
yeah.
but the Wall of Roots came out before that.
Right. Oh no.
Yeah. So he's got all these multiple dice going on. Thankfully, we've moved on past that. But Wall of Roots hasn't.
+1, -1 counters.
Hard to figure out.
It wouldn't be.
He's like, find the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, get some fate counters on that guy.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, clock blockers. You need a clock spinning right here.
No.
Look, I got more cards in my hand than you.
4 cards in hand, he says.
Wow, but seriously, like, if Ricky plays out another creature here, which he's going to do with a Spellskite, and he goes for the big, because remember, Spellskite doesn't have Defender, so he can still activate Township here and then
2.
get in there.
18.
Roberto is going to be right back in this game after
Yeah.
a roll to 4.
Well, he's gonna essentially maul Ricky to like 1.
Does he hit a land here? No, he doesn't. He just says go.
Roberto's at 18.
He's got a Lightning Helix with no red mana. He's got, I believe, a path. Did you see a path there? Which he doesn't want to use.
No.
As long as he's not facing lethal here. Wow, if Roberto draws a Lando, he can really get back in this, and it's, I think, a Birds of Paradise and a Phantasmal image for Ricky, so, like,
Yeah, I found a green mana.
everything's still fully live for Roberto. No Birthing Pod, no Chord of Calling.
Beat down.
Those walls have Defender, they can't attack.
Ooh.
Ha!
Oh god.
Attack with my Spellscape for 1, my bird for 2.
Why would he do that?
As opposed to just attacking with the bird?
Yeah. You know, he's got Exalted there.
Yes. I'm gonna remand that one. Ha! Look at me.
Or a remand. This is going to draw Roberto a card. Is it a land?
Roberto could not remand that fast enough.
It was a Geist of St. Traff, so not a land. Oh, man. He's going to get another rip at it, though. We see Ricky's counting out how much mana he has this turn because he wants to commit more creatures that can attack, because that's the one thing about Gavany Township is it needs creatures. He can't just, hold stuff. Oh,
come
here
on.
it is. Nope. Oh, it's a tap land.
No.
No, he's going to play his Geist of St. Traff. He almost said go, but he wants to have a blocker here.
Yep.
He's at 15. He's got some. He's not dead.
He is definitely not dead. He only 3 of Ricky's creatures, actually 4 of them now, can attack. He is not dead, though.
You got the Wrath of God, man. That's mean.
I wish I had a Wrath of God.
So the players, Ricky just
I
said
wish I
something
had
about
two.
Wrath of God, and Roberto said, "I wish I had
All
a
those
Wrath of
cards.
God."
seem
Oh.
really good.
Kiki
That old
Jiki
chestnut,
Mirror
huh?
Breaker, yeah. Kiki Jiki's castable for Ricky.
Red mana. It's just so hard.
It doesn't win or anything here, though.
Going 7 on this one.
He needs another counter. Wow, and he's even going to get him to use that image to take out the Geist first, because this is still not lethal, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's still not lethal.
7?
This one should have 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
This one should have
All right, so Ricky's saying that Noble Hierarch should have 3.
Oh, we have that much we can do about that now.
But if he missed,
Roberto says not much we can do about
Yeah.
that now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it should have one. Or, I mean, I'm saying we just continue.
Yeah.
All right, so he just said, do we just continue? Yeah.
yeah, we do. It's like, this is not Moto Sip
All right,
Holla.
so Roberto says he needs a miracle and rubs his hands together, potentially trying to goad Ricky
It's not a bonfire.
into playing something.
Get blown away, fool.
All right, so he shows him
that he drew.
that was the land that was the card that
Yeah.
he drew, and now he gets a Supreme Verdict in. So there's some miracle he was hoping for. He had this hand.
I need to untap.
Oh, good guys. What game are we playing now?
So
So how the mulligans have turned.
Roberto says, I'm not going to tell you I had it. And Roberto is absolutely right back in this game now. He even is going to have a red source of mana here so that he can Lightning Helix a potential threat from Ricky. Remember, Ricky still has Kiki Jiki in hand.
Right.
It is a haste creature.
Yeah.
Sometimes you attack for 2 with him. It was interesting. Roberto said, I need a miracle. And I think he was trying to goad Ricky into playing like anything else that he had.
Yeah.
Ricky, of course, knew. He said, I knew you had it.
Yeah.
and Roberto said, well, I'm not going to tell you I have it. But Ricky was fully aware of the situation. He just didn't have a choice. And he has Restoration Angel, Lightning Helix.
Yep.
Please report to the
And
side
one other
event
card?
stage. Players in the standard winter box, please report to the side event stage.
Ricky needs another mana, and it also has to be red, which it is. He can play Kiki Jiki here. Last card in his hand, and he just says, I'm not even going to bother.
Yeah.
And here's a Restoration Angel.
Is he considering? Oh, I thought he was maybe considering the Helix there.
Ricky's still at 20. He's going to drop him down here. He drew
Deceiver Exarch.
Deceiver Exarch, exactly. And, oh, that's an interesting draw. Zealous Conscripts, which does combo with Kiki Jiki. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that Kiki Jiki on the table. It's in his hand. Now, are we making sure, doesn't Roberto gain some life from the Grove of the Burn Willows?
Not if he uses it for color.
Oh, right, and this one he didn't. But he'll have to do that when he plays it for Kiki Jiki.
It's kind of interesting.
So Roberto just has to not tap that red source. Well, it looks like he's just going to go for it right now. Yeah, he's just going to take that thing out right now. Deceiver Exarch is going to be used to tap down the Restoration Angel before it attacks.
What? Is that what happened?
Yeah. They're
Okay.
doing it very quickly. and
Okay,
he
yeah, I
did-
was like, it didn't look like that was the sequence.
No, I know, but that is what he ended up doing. And
He's
Splinter Twin takes the game for Roberto Gonzalez.
Wow.
Wow.
That was crazy.
That was insane. Mulligan to
But I mean,
4
to be, mulligan to 4.
and pulls it out. And I mean, Ricky had turns, but his deck doesn't have the ability outside of Birthing Pod and Court of Calling to dig for stuff.
Right. And could he have, and would holding back any of those creatures made a difference? I don't think so.
I mean, he would. The difference is he would have had like a Birds of Paradise that he could have started ticking up with his.
Sure.
I mean, it's
But
a
there weren't that many
threat.
turns, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, ultimately there weren't very many at all. Wow. Supreme Verdict.
Supreme Verdict.
Pretty good versus the Birthing Pod.
Yeah, I
deck,
mean,
it
it
turns out.
was, he mulliganed to 4, and then, but he what was that? 8 for 1?
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 for 1.
No,
You think it was
no,
more?
there were 2 birds.
Uh-huh.
There was a noble hierarch.
Yeah, 2
There
walls.
were 2 walls and a spell skite.
Okay, so that's 6.
That's, I think, 7, but yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and he got him to use his image on his Geist
Yeah.
of St. Traft as well. Yeah, that was insane.
Ties it up, 1 game apiece. It's kind of so interesting to me too. I think again, both of these decks playing that combo
Yeah, that is
and just taking
interesting.
2 very, very different approaches to
Yeah,
it. And neither one even very traditional. I mean, obviously the Kiki Pod is a traditional deck,
it is at this point, I think. Yeah,
but when you think of that deck, you think of it as this very straightforward combo deck, and like we said, Roberto Gonzalez is able to take 2 or 3 different tacks with his deck. He's
yeah,
able to move up and down, the sort of accelerator pedal.
yeah. And it's interesting in that way because when you look at it from that perspective, we saw him just close the door on that game with the combo, right? Like he managed to stabilize, and then he just completely closed the door. But as we saw, he also had a pretty decent backup plan going with that Restoration Angel too, just beating.
I saw him playing earlier, and he was just like, okay, bolt you, Restoration Angel, get in, attack.
Yeah, I think it's sweet. I mean, this is the type of deck that
I mean, it's
that
basically
interests me for
it's
sure.
like the red white blue flash deck,
Yeah,
but with some infinite combos.
yeah. But it has a lot of the same benefits that deck has, like having a lot of spot removal against aggressive decks. Lightning Helix goes a really, really long way
Yeah.
against those type of decks. Lightning Helix is amazing versus Lightning Bolt based decks as well.
Will the Magic players Joshua Nelson,
So Ricky will be on the play this game.
Miles B, and Robert S.
Which is
please
certainly
report
going to
on the side
benefit him
stage.
greatly. He has so much mana that, cards like Remand aren't as good versus him. Sometimes they'll hold him off for a turn, and sometimes they just won't.
We still have not seen a birthing pod.
No. Which is interesting, because the game plays out much, much differently with the birthing pod for Ricky. I mean, it allows him to use his skill and experience advantage with the deck to find exactly the pieces exactly the right way. It also just gives him access to this toolbox of awesome different creatures that he can get to answer really anything he needs. Kasali Pride Mage, Spellskite's one that is really good. If Roberto tries to go off with his combo and he has Spellskite out, he can't.
Great.
He just says, nope, target my Spellskite.
Yeah.
Phantasmal Image is one that we noted before that can take out Geist of St. Traft if he's under pressure.
Yeah. My hand had 2 lands.
Splinter Twin?
Spellskite only can stop, obviously, Splinter Twin.
Yeah, Splinter
Kiki
Twin.
doesn't do anything about the Kiki Jiki, but
No,
I'm glad my 5-card hand didn't have 1 land in it, because I would have kept it.
can't do everything.
because Kikijiki only can do guys you control.
Yeah.
But Splinter Twin, that counts. With Court of Calling, Ricky can do crazy stuff too, like search up.
Oh, we saw. Just saw game 1. He just quarter called up.
Yeah, the combo, but
The combo.
he can even
7
do
right now.
search up things like Spellskite after Roberto, that kind of stuff. So.
See an Avalanche Riders in hand there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like that.
Certainly has one of those in his sideboard. Trying to see if he has. I don't think he has any main.
All right, looks like they're off here. Birds of Paradise for Ricky.
And Roberto gains one from the Grove of the Burn Willows. Card that seems much more fair without punishing fire running around in the format.
It's true.
What am I supposed to do? Not play around the Mind Sensor?
Sacrifices a Sacred Foundry, gets a Hallowed Fountain. I mean, an Arid Mesa gets a Hallowed Fountain.
Yeah, let's put it in perspective.
Roberto's joking around about
We found a pod.
not playing around Aven Mind Sensor. That's why he main phased, went for that. And Birthing Pod on turn
There
2 for
is the
Ricky
pod.
Sidher. He's going to put him in the driver's seat if Roberto doesn't have
I would,
the
I would,
answer.
I haven't really had a chance to see this deck do its kind of full.
Oh, like the whole
Yeah, just the
Deceiver,
crazy
Exarch,
dance, yeah.
Untap, and oh, it can do some insane stuff. So Roberto's got a tough choice here, though. He has 3 Lightning Helix in hand, and he can just start.
You just kill that bird.
You can kill it and just try to keep Ricky off of the chain. The problem is, as we've seen, Ricky's deck is almost all creatures, and he is going to draw more creatures during the course of the game. So that's not a long-term plan. It is a short-term plan, though.
Right. Well, again, I mean, and Roberto has Stony Silence, which we're going to
Does
assume
he?
he brought in.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know that he has one in hand, but if he
Okay.
can buy himself a big turn, a turn here.
Yeah, he did in fact helix the bird, and no creature for Ricky Sidher. That's huge.
You have no point.
You see him offer him an opportunity to respond to the Scalding Tarn.
Yeah. Prudent.
He's like, huh? He's like, sack it.
Especially because Ricky just passed a turn. Now Ricky doesn't have access to white mana here, though, so not a ton he could do. And Roberto's going to take 3. Is this going to be a Geist Saint draft? Because if that is,
Or is it going to be a Stony Silence?
3 mana.
Nope, Geist Saint Draft.
Oh, man. So that's a huge play for Roberto as it's 3-turn clock into Ricky's currently empty board. But that can change very quickly thanks to Birthing Pod.
Ricky drops to 15. Bolts himself to put an untapped Hallowed Fountain in play.
This is a big turn here. Is he going to ride the Avalanche?
Yeah.
Riders. What tools do you have?
I have 17.
It's a reasonable blocker.
Yeah.
We have 2
Roberto's not going to be too happy to helix that away, but he'll probably do it.
Get you to 9. And now he's a turn away.
Now he's a turn away.
Yeah, because we know he's got another Helix in hand.
Yeah, so Ricky just drew a Birds of Paradise, so he can actually go get that Phantasmal Image and take out the Geist Saint draft here.
But put himself back to nothing.
Yep.
See Roberto anticipating that play. Or will it be Wall? Nope. He could have gotten a Wall of Roots as well. But he would take 4.
He would take 4, risky business. Yeah, Ricky is at 9, not 15.
Both of these players sitting at 5-0.
Uh-huh.
Judge. 19 and 9.
Looks like Roberto just played a land and said go.
Yeah. Ricky looked like he was expecting a Vendelian Click.
I got that.
He was like, I'm going to draw a card here, all right? Going to go to my main phase.
Doing
Okay.
my cross step, bro.
Yeah.
Stage.
Looking to go to the main.
ticks down to 8.
All right, so Roberto has no pressure, though. He's representing...
Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're at 19. I'm at 19. He's at 8.
But what does Ricky have in mind? That's the question. He knows that Roberto can't have Cryptic Command here. Could have a couple of remands or just one remand.
Yep.
Oh, untaps his land.
Here's some of the shenanigans that you were hoping for, I think. Just going to battle. And here's the Restoration Angel. I think it's going to get pathed.
Yep.
Ooh, monster.
Very nice. So that's a really nice sequence for Ricky.
Yeah.
Roberto opened himself up to a path to exile there. Ricky really forced it and said, hey, man, you want to try to kill this thing?
Yeah.
Players Clint
And
Carpenter
Ricky is left with
Daniel
the Zealous
Ramos
Conscript
Garcia.
still on the
Right.
table.
Clint Carpenter
And what
Daniel
6s does he have?
Ramos
Does he
Garcia.
have any?
Please come up to the main event
This deck
stage.
normally doesn't run 6s. That doesn't mean he doesn't, because he's an expert with the deck. He might have come up with something
Yeah.
tricky.
That doesn't look like he has any.
Uh-huh.
Players in the Saturday Skins standard event. Your event is ready. We have round 1 pairings.
A Celestial
already
Colonnade,
posted.
which could close the game out
find your
in
seats.
2 swings.
Absolutely.
Again, that's Saturday Skins standard.
There is Lightning Helix for Roberto. Does he want to just use it right now? That means that Ricky
I think
doesn't
he-
get to activate his pod, but
I think
Roberto
you
might
have
not
to.
know. Okay, he did not do it, and it makes sense. If he doesn't think that Ricky has
Oh, it's
6s,
true. Yeah, he's assuming that there's no 6s.
If he assumes
He
that there's
has
no
to make that
6,
assumption.
Yeah, because right now, like we see, there's a Kiki Jiki for Ricky, so he actually has the combo, and now Roberto can interrupt it. He says sure, and then once it targets his conscripts is when he's gonna helix it.
Yeah. Trying to decide what he wants to helix
I mean, he's
here.
got a Supreme Verdict. So, oh, you mean what he wants to helix? Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. He decides to take out Kiki Jiki. Now, he still gets a copy of Zealous Conscripts, though, which he can use to steal a land. He can untap one of his own lands.
Yep, that's what he's doing.
He can use that to activate the birthing pod here,
But he has nothing.
but he has no 6s, so
Yeah.
he's just going to steal the land and just ship it back. It does mean that Roberto's not going to
Isn't
get a
it
chance
sip
to
it
play.
back?
It does mean that Roberto's not going to get a chance to, play like a Vanillion Click or something here.
Oh, it's 5. Yeah, you're right. It's a Zealous
It is
Conscript.
a copy of
exact
Zealous Conscripts. It doesn't have the flavor text, but yes.
So the players are discussing whether the converted mana cost of the token is 5 or 0, and it's 5.
Yeah.
It's an actual copy of Conscripts.
Who wanted it to be 0?
I'm not sure. I think it was just a clarification.
Yeah.
But, then he could have gotten Birds of Paradise.
Right, and started up the chain.
Yeah. Which is a huge deal here. I mean, any creature off the top for Ricky means that he can start chaining stuff together. This is really tight spot.
I mean, an interesting game where we see the birthing pod this game, but the creatures just have never stuck around.
No. He was forced to use it to take out the Geist of St. Traff, but it left him with no board. And he's just hard cast the other creatures. Hands on head for Roberto Gonzales. He can activate Colonnade here and hit his opponent down to 1 swing, within 1 swing of death. And he would also have all of his colors up and 2 mana. He's got 2 cards in hand, so it really depends on what he has. He doesn't want to randomly lose here, but he also has to keep the pedal down.
Right. I mean, yeah, turns are his enemy here.
Yes. Draw steps.
Yeah. I like to think about like situations like this, like a basketball game, like how many possessions.
Exactly.
Right now this is a 2 possession game.
Exactly.
For Roberto.
Right.
And he needs to close that out.
Yes. And it's similar to the end of a basketball game where when the clock's winding down, you can go 2 for 1. You can get 2 possessions where they're only going to get 1. And that's actually what he needs to have happen here is limit Ricky to 1 draw step.
It's like, can he do anything if Ricky draws something this turn?
That's the question, right? I mean, if you
Right,
don't have
he can
Helix or
bolt.
Path, then it's irrelevant. Now, what he could do, though, is he could wipe the board. You know,
Sure.
he could
Oh,
take,
yeah,
he
so he
could
could
take
Supreme
this turn
Verdict.
to Supreme Verdict, and he's trying to decide if that's safer or not. Is this a creature? Because if it is, there's a good chance that Ricky can go up the chain here. He's tapped 3 mana. Domri
No.
Raid. It can find a creature.
Yes.
Oh, man.
It's some fraction of a creature.
It is. And in this deck, like a fairly large one. Birds of Paradise. That's an interesting one. That can block the Celestial Colonnade if Ricky doesn't have enough mana to go off this turn. Roberto does not have enough mana to Supreme Verdict, then activate his Colonnade. He's way off of that.
So basically another possession
Yeah, exactly.
for Ricky.
13 and 4.
Just burned a timeout here, but
Alright,
It's like,
let's
alright.
see what we can find on top of the deck.
Roberto says, let's see what we can find on top of the deck.
Which means he's holding a Supreme Verdict.
Yeah,
We've
we've established
By the
that
way, we've
pattern.
established this tell.
So this means that Ricky's going to get his regular draw step plus a Domri Raid activation to try to find something to start
Right.
going up the chain, and that's before he spent any mana.
Yeah.
Supreme Verdict, though? Yeah, he's just going to use his Verdict right here. He was going to have to use his whole turn worth of mana anyway. He
Right.
might as well take out the 5-drop.
Land.
Ah.
Roberto was rooting for land from
Right.
Ricky, which is
So
probably not what
basically-
Ricky
so
wanted to
basically
hear there.
Rick bricked twice there.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
That dominated.
Had a shot at the end of the game and it just bounced off the rim.
Yep.
Interesting.
That was a really sweet match.
Yeah, I really like Roberto Gonzalez' deck.
Yeah, I think his